Hello and welcome to your first combo day of the program. This is going to be taking all of the moves that we've been learning across this week and then putting them together into one solid sequence. Now, I would like for you to warm up for this just like you would for a regular workout. It is going to be a lot of exertion on the body and you need to make sure you're ready. The way the day should look is that you can try to practice all of these moves individually or in chunks, but the goal is to be able to go from top to bottom in one continuous sequence. Once you do that successfully, ideally you'll then try and do it again on the other side. Now, once you feel you've got the sequence down pat, I'll invite you to actually record yourself. Not only is it a great way to watch what you're doing with the sword and then be able to critique your movements and try to find places to improve, it'll actually be a great way to show progress as well. Since the weight of the sword stays the same throughout this whole program, the real thing that you're going to be showing improvement in is your speed, your efficiency, and how good you can make it look while you're swinging the sword. So please record yourself. And for those of you who are really feeling proud of it, I'd invite you to actually post your combos. Firstly, it would be really cool to help the community grow and have everyone share what they're doing with the sword. And I think it'll actually give you a great sense of accomplishment when you're posting a new combo every week, displaying all the cool skills that you've developed. So the way these combo review videos are going to work is first I will play the combo in its completion so you get an idea of what you're going to be doing. Then I will go through and break down each individual movement that you're going to be doing so you know the points of form to look out for and little tips and tricks to make it so you can go through the whole sequence smoothly. Once that's completed, it'll play the combo once more, and then you should get off on your own and start trying it yourself. And real quick, before we play the combo, just to make sure you're clear on what the system is of labeling, you have the name of the movement with a corresponding colored bullet point. Now this combo only has guards and swings, so you're only seeing the two colors of red and blue. But just so you know, blue means it's a guard, so here we are in front guard. Red means it's a swing, snatch, swing, thrust, string. And then, of course, the rest of them, shoulders, guard, sky guard, snatch, swing, thrust, swing, snatch, swing, right? So that's just a kind of an easier shorthand to use whenever I'm doing these combos. And that's going to be universal throughout the program. Now let's go ahead and watch this combo. Awesome. Good job, me. All right, so we'll be beginning this combo in a front guard position. So let's do a quick review of what a good front guard looks like. You'll notice my feet evenly distributed. I've got my weight just about the same in both feet. This front foot maybe could be pointing more straight ahead, but it's acceptable. Back foot is at a 45-degree angle. My arms, nice and straight. I've got my triceps flexed. So that way I have a really solid, direct communication of force from my back and shoulders right into the handles of the sword. The sword itself is straight out in front of me with the tip slightly raised. Now that straight out ahead is a really important detail. I'm going to talk a lot throughout this program about your center line, which is more or less the line being drawn between both feet, shooting straight out ahead of you and where your vision is directed. You want that sword to be in parallel with your center line. So that's a good front guard. Let's go ahead and see how the snatch swing goes. We are driving that sword above the head and then bringing it right back down. Now, to be able to drive that sword with speed and efficiency, it's about this bottom hand here. You're going to be pushing through this hand and pulling through the top hand to get that tip and to get that drive way up over the head. You'll also notice too that the peak of my snatch swing has the handle above my head. If this sword tip was more above my head and the handle was more in front of me, I wouldn't consider that a complete snatch swing. Push yourself, push your mobility to get it all the way up and back and then bring it down with force. So now to bring it down, you'll be pulling through the bottom hand and pushing through the top hand to chop it down And right out of our snatch swing, we're going into a thrust. Thrust being fully extended out and away from us with straight arms, ideally with the sword at shoulder height at the peak of the movement. Now this is going to be just like the snatch swing. All of the force is being generated by this back hand. This bottom hand on the handle is driving in, and the top hand on the handle is steering the force forward, shooting out into a thrust swing. Now, if you've been practicing your thrust swings correctly, when you get to this peak position, just with the same amount of intensity you use to get the sword out in front of you, you're going to be using the same level of intensity to pull it back in. Now, during this combo, we don't have you returning to a front guard out of your thrust. You're instead going to be shifting into a shoulder guard. Now, you can see that's a bit tricky. I'm going from fully extended arms here, and then I'm rotating the sword, so I technically have the sharp edge facing up towards the sky. This can be tricky for a lot of people. In fact, I would even guess this is going to be the combo breaker for most people at this point in the program. Shoulder guard's a bit tricky. Going into shoulder guard right out of thrust is extra tricky. So, thrust, pulling back hard and quick, landing in a shoulder guard. Now, right out of this shoulder guard, what do? We're going up into sky guard. Just like the shoulder to sky movements that we were practicing earlier in the week, it's really about wrenching down with the bottom hand. You'll see that as I pull on that bottom hand, it shifts the tip up, and once I get past a certain point, the top hand takes over and just presses it above the head to that top position. Now, coming out of sky guard, we're just chopping that thing right back down. So just like a thrust swing, we're pulling down with the bottom hand, right? Pressing with the top hand, landing in a front guard position. Now, some people might ask, hey, isn't that just sky guard to front guard? Why do you call that a snatch swing? Well, one, you're very observant. Good job. But two, it's kind of a cheat. It's a way to squeeze another swing into the combo, making it feel more active and makes it feel like we're on the offensive. Now that you've come down out of the sky guard with a snatch swing, you're just popping right back up into a thrust. Same rules as usual. Really good thrust actually here. Look at how high I've got that sword. Really good top position. So that's what you're going to be shooting for. That's thrust, pops right out of the snatch, driving with that backhand, pulling right back. And I can tell you, this is a pull. Even if it just looks like I'm relaxing my arms back down, I am actively grabbing that blade, grabbing that handle, and pulling it back down into a front guard and using a stretch reflex here where I'm going to be bouncing off my own tense muscles to drive it up into a snatch swing. And that will be the full combo. My advice as you start to practice it today is to just focus on these first 5 movements, which really is just 4 movements. Front guard really isn't a movement. So yeah, snatch, thrust, shoulder to sky. If you can get those 4, I'm very confident you're going to take care of the snatch, thrust, snatch very easily after that. So practice this little sequence to the point where you feel like you get it to a confident and quick level, and then start putting the other bit on it as well. Once that feels good, you're welcome to film it and then do the other side as well. Maybe even filming that. Maybe you'll actually like it on your non-dominant hand. And I will say that if anyone is finding themselves struggling to be able to do this full sequence of movement, do not stress. This is hard training, and it's also very new training. It's very unfamiliar for a lot of people in their bodies to be able to do these strange leverage-based strength training movements. So take your time. And like I've said earlier in the program, there is no shame in repeating weeks. I would love to hear that someone took 3-4 weeks just to be able to get this first combo down because they wanted it to look great. That is awesome thinking. If anything, I want you thinking of these combos like boss battles in a video game. Don't move on to the next level until you've proven you can do this level of movement. All right, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get you out there, get swinging, have fun, be safe, and go slay some dragons.